if you say today, if any place large economy is there in the globe, is all about India today, which is growing fantastically. So we are at the right place in the right country with the right balance sheet, and especially in the right sector.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kotak Chatroom presented by Kotak Securities. Today we will discuss the much awaited IPO of JSW Infrastructure Limited, and we have with us Mr. Arun Maheshwari, Joint MD and CEO of JSW Infrastructure Limited. Hello sir, thanks for taking the time out and joining with us. After almost a decade, JSW Group is about to launch its IPO. Can you elaborate on this strategic reason behind launching this IPO at this specific moment? And do you think that this is the ideal time to launch IPO for both the company and for the potential investors?
Though I would just like to clarify over here that we are not timing the IPO. In fact, in January 2022, when we had come up with a bond issue, $400 million US bond. That time we had given the guidance to our investors, debt investors, that we would be going public towards the end of 2023. So it was decided back then. So it happened to be that the market's timings are good, but it is not like that we are timing the market. That is the first part of it. Now, why we are coming up with the IPO is that largely because the company has come to a scale and size from where it can take a leap forward. And the ingredients are good, the balance sheets are very healthy, very strong. The opportunities are very good in India. And if you say today, if any place large economy is there in the globe, is all about India today, which is growing fantastically. So we are at the right place in the right country with the right balance sheet, and especially in the right sector. This sector has been a focus sector for the government for the last 4 or 5 years. If we see the budget very closely, a lot of thrust has been given on the infrastructure sector by the government, and we happen to be there now. The business has come to a scale and size wherein we can fuel our ambitions further from here on.
So your company has two listed peers. One is Adani Ports and second one is Pipavav Port Limited. Your DRHP includes comparison with Adani Ports in all accounting ratios. Do you think this is the appropriate comparison given the scale and nature of this cargo segment?
So, see, this is a very sunrise sector if you very closely look at it. It's about 25-30-year-old sector wherein the private players have started coming into this place in a prominent manner. So, having said that, pie is very big. There's a role for everyone to play in this particular sector. It happens so that today there are only a couple of few players are there in this sector, and I think the way India is growing and the way India is likely to grow, and this sector will need strong players like existing players as well as more such players coming to this sector with a deep balance sheet, with an attitude, with a passion to grow this business alongside the growth journey of India. So fair comparison is like because there are only few players, so the comparison will be only with the existing players who are there in the market today.
What is your outlook for your cargo handling segment for the upcoming years?
The total size of the IPO is about 2,800 crore rupees, out of which 880 crore rupees will be going towards debt repayment. About 1,200 crore rupees will be towards capex, what we have already identified and written in the RHP, and balance money would be towards the general corporate expenses. However, if I see, the growth journey has been pretty good, decent. If you see the RHP, we have been growing at a CAGR of about 40% in the last 3 years. And I think India is offering such opportunities wherein any big conglomerate with a decent balance sheet and with the ambition to grow in the sector will always be growing. So I think we are there. So I won't be able to guide you, about the future aspects, but then we are there with a clear intention to make this business much bigger than what we are today.
Please help us to understand the percentage of volume of your cargo handling business which is coming from outside of the business, and what is your outlook for the third party businesses where you are investing currently?
So, essentially, this company started way back in 2004 with one port terminal in Goa, and that was largely to have the supply chain control of JSW Steel and JSW Energy, primarily, being a group company. A good 14-15 years we have been doing only group cargo as a vertical because we really wanted to, as a process industry, we wanted to have a control on those supply chains issues. As we started growing our ports, as we started developing our business, we realized that the assets have already been created. Why not, utilize these assets, sweat the assets, and develop this completely as a third-party vertical? So, as a matter of fact, in FY19, when we were doing about 35 million ton of cargo, only 6% of the cargo was outside the group. Wherein in FY23, when we ended, it was about 93 million tons of total cargo, of which 33% was outside the group. In fact, as on June 23, which is again uploaded numbers, we have done almost 63% group cargo and 37% outside the group. So the growth has been very continuous on the outside. It is not that the volumes have been growing extremely fast. On top of it, our share on the third party business has been growing equally fast. So it is becoming as much independent, as much different products are there. We have added LPG, containers, LNG. We have added fertilizers, sugar, gypsum, barytes, all sort of material which are not being used or handled anywhere in the JSW group per se.
Correct, sir. So, sir, you have just highlighted all these segments also. So, what major segments apart from these segments are you targeting to increase your traffic in your coming future?
So we have been very strong in bulk handling. So that's where our core expertise has been developed. As a group, also we are there with steel or cement or energy. These are all bulk movement materials. So we have an expertise as a group on that part. However, our renewed focus 2018-19 onwards, when we got into the third-party businesses, we have a renewed focus towards the container, liquid and gas, and our investments have been on towards that. I think we will continue to have our focus on those sectors. While I'm not saying that we will not be investing anything else anywhere else, but this would be a focus area. Anything which gives benefits to our stakeholders and our balance sheet, we would be considering that as an investment and growth opportunities.
So, in your DRHP, you mentioned that for the 9 months ended 31st December 2022, you had handled cargo volume of around 67.6 million tons. Could you please share the full volumes FY23 and what are your expectations for FY24?
Yeah, so FY23 we added 93 million tons about cargo, of which 33% was the third party cargo and balance was group cargo. Quarter 1 of FY24, which ended on June 23, our total cargo was about 25.42 million tons, and of which 37% was outside the group and 63% was within the group. I think the growth journey of the past has been good, and we hope that we will be able to continue or we will be able to maintain this kind of growth trajectories.
So the company has mentioned in their DRHP that around 880 crore rupees will be used to invest in your arm at the JSW Jagar and Dharamtar port for the repayment of the debt. As of December 2022, Dharamtar port has a total debt of rupees 4,300 crore rupees. What is the ideal debt level that you expect from both these ports?
So the 31st March 23 has been 4,200 crore rupees, wherein there was a cash in the system. So the net debt as of 31st March was 2,200 crore rupees. Post this IPO, wherein we have one of the object clauses for prepayment of the part of the debts is about 880 crore rupees, and thereafter would be some cash in the system for 6 months as well. So post IPO would be debt free, and there's enough headroom to make more capexes and then grow the business further from here on.
Do you have any plans to enter into new segments?
Anything which adds value to our existing business or increase our reach to our hinterland, we won't mind doing that. Be it railway, be it road, be it connectivity project of gas pipelines or slurry pipelines, whichever it is, or CFS or MMLPs. These are the areas which we feel, the initial good 14-15 years, we have been handling group cargo. And thereafter, in the last 5 years, we have developed our third-party business profile. Today, probably we are at a stage, we can take such projects, we can increase our stickiness of the product and the cargo and the customers. So we don't mind getting into that area, or we are continues to explore those areas.
So you have just mentioned about Indian Railway, which is also looking to increase its market share in the cargo handling segment. So do you have any plans to connect your ports to the dedicated freight corridors for direct rail lines?
The government has been very clear in their thought process that the logistics cost, which is about 14% or 13-14% of the GDP, has to be brought down to 8 to 9%. And this is a very, very good move. And if you see all the budget, what we have seen in the recent past or in the last 4-5 years, has been targeted towards that. 95% of the exempt cargo is through sea routes. For an economy like India, which is growing extremely fast, need to have a very efficient port, very efficient evacuation system. And that's where the Gati Shakti schemes have been brought in. Bharatmala, Sagarmala, the additional schemes, what are there. So this is all about the reduction of the logistics cost. I think getting into the railway tie-ups, doing a railway connectivity project would be an extension of this particular subject. We are open to it. We don't mind doing it. It should be adding value to our port as well as the overall customer base what we have in that region.
So, given that your cargo handling volume is expected to be benefited from JSW Steel and JSW Energy expansion plans, how do you expect your volume to increase in the next 5 years, and how are you planning to increase your installed carbohydrate capacity beyond existing 150 million tons per RM to 200 million tons per RM?
As of now, our capacity is about 158 million tons per annum. I would just like to clarify over here that though JSW Steel is growing extremely fast and they continue to grow. Similarly, JSW Energy is growing very fast, or cement for that matter is growing very fast. Having a group company doesn't mean we are the custodian of their cargo. We get a first opportunity to look at the cargo. If we are competitive, if we can service them very competitively, we would get a contract to handle their cargo. They are free to decide from where they are going to handle, or we are free to decide whether we would like to be able to handle their cargo or not. Having said that, being a group company, definitely we have an advantage to have a first look of the cargo. But our growth is partially from the group company's cargo as I look forward, and partially it would be our intention to grow the third party business, whether in container or liquid or gas. So,
one last question I wanted to understand, what is your view on this current competition in this cargo segment?
No, I think the pie is very big. India has 7,500 kilometers shoreline. Who are the players today? There are only a couple of few handful players are there. And the way Indian economy is growing, like 4 trillion to 10, 12 trillion, what we are envisaging in the next 5, 7, 10 years, it is not possible to grow without touching the shores. You pick up any economy in the past centuries, be it America or Europe or China or India, you need to have a strong port-led assets. Then only you can grow, and we have very handfuls of players. I think there's a enough room for everyone to grow, and as such, every port is an economy in itself. No two port can compete with each other, wherein the geographical distances are very high. So similarly, East Coast port cannot compete with the West Coast port. It is very different and difficult. So I think there's a good enough headroom for everyone to grow and grow at a much rapid pace.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for sharing all these insights, and we wish all the very best for your upcoming IPO.
Thank you, everyone.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.